What if the fairy tale you thought you knew about Meghan and Harry was just that? A story carefully edited for public consumption. That's the question that has gripped royal watchers, tabloids, and millions of social media scrollers around the world in the past few weeks. A revelation so shocking it could rewrite the narrative of one of the most famous couples of our time is making waves. And at the center of it all, Meghan Markle, a figure both celebrated and scrutinized, now caught in a storm of whispers, leaks, and explosive accusations. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Sources close to the palace claim the story is far from what you've read in headlines. According to investigative journalist Tom Bower, whose career has been built exposing royal secrets, Meghan Markle's past may include ties to one of the world's wealthiest and most secretive men, Ty Warner, billionaire founder of Beanie Babies and an enigmatic figure in global elite circles. And the alleged nature of that connection? Some sources have described it with a term that has shocked insiders: sugar baby. Pause for a second. Think about that. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, known for her public advocacy, her meticulously curated image, and her fiercely protected narrative, linked in any way to a billionaire's secret life? It's a claim that immediately ignites every conceivable reaction: disbelief, anger, curiosity, and above all, an irresistible desire to know the truth. But the story doesn't end there. While the world is fixated on allegations, Harry has reportedly taken a step no one saw coming, walking into a divorce office. In the same breath, the palace is rumored to be bracing for the fallout. Lawyers are mobilizing, and tabloids are circling like sharks on a blood trail. What does this mean for the couple, for the monarchy, and for the public perception of everything we thought we knew about Meghan and Harry? Before we dive deeper, let's be clear, this is not just gossip. This is a series of events that exposes hidden power dynamics, secret alliances, and perhaps even betrayals that go far beyond personal scandal. From Ty Warner's clandestine meetings to Harry's private legal maneuvers, the story is a complex web of wealth, influence, and emotion. So why does this matter now? Why is it being reported at this exact moment? The answer is as strategic as it is sensational. Tom Bower's investigation comes at a time when Meghan and Harry's public image is under intense scrutiny. Every move they make is watched, dissected, and amplified. And the timing of this revelation, coinciding with Harry's divorce proceedings, creates a perfect storm, one that could have ripple effects across the monarchy, media, and even public trust. Imagine, for a moment, the palace corridors. Whispered conversations, hurried phone calls, aides trying to anticipate media fallout. Every leak, every rumor, every hidden fact becomes a chess piece in a high-stakes game of reputation and power. And in the center of it all, Meghan and Harry, whose lives are no longer just private. They are public property, with every misstep magnified tenfold. But let's step back and look at the pieces we know so far. Ty Warner is not just a billionaire. He is a figure surrounded by mystery. Known for his immense wealth, his high-profile connections, and a penchant for private dealings, Warner's name alone carries intrigue. And the alleged connection to Meghan adds layers of complexity. Was it personal, financial, opportunistic, or something else entirely? These questions fuel a curiosity gap that the media, and audiences like you, cannot ignore. Meanwhile, Harry's legal moves raise equally compelling questions. Walking into a divorce office is not just a legal step. It is a symbolic act, one that signals the breakdown of personal and familial bonds. It suggests decisions made behind closed doors, alliances tested, and perhaps a recognition that public image cannot always shield private reality. What led Harry to that moment? How much of it ties back to Meghan's alleged connections? And what secrets might still be buried, waiting for the right time, or wrong leak, to come to light? As we unravel this story, one thing becomes clear. Nothing is as simple as it seems. Every detail matters, from the subtle ways Tom Bower uncovered sources to the hidden exchanges between billionaires and royals, to Harry's private actions that the world will only partially see. And as we will reveal, some of the most shocking revelations are not even in headlines yet. They are in the gaps, in the spaces between public appearances and media statements. Let's talk about why this story grips the public imagination so fiercely. Meghan Markle has always been a figure of fascination, an actress turned duchess, a woman of color navigating centuries of tradition, a celebrity with a carefully managed image. Her every move is scrutinized, every choice debated. And when allegations surface that challenge that curated narrative, allegations involving secret meetings with billionaires, whispers of hidden relationships, and questions about loyalty and honesty, the public can't help but be drawn in. Meanwhile, Harry's narrative adds drama to the mix. The prince, once celebrated as the rebel royal, now facing a crossroads in his marriage, stepping into legal spaces that hint at personal turmoil. The emotional resonance is undeniable. People connect to stories of love, betrayal, secrecy, and power because they see reflections of the human experience, albeit in an amplified, celebrity-studded form. But what makes this exposé truly compelling is the interplay of secrecy and revelation. Tom Bower, with his decades of investigative experience, has a knack for finding cracks in polished facades. The connections he uncovers between Meghan and Ty Warner, the timing of Harry's legal decisions, and the reactions within the palace all suggest a narrative that is messy, human, and explosively captivating. And as you watch this video, every revelation will build upon the last, creating a story that is impossible to ignore. So here's what's coming. We will take you inside secret meetings, leaked communications, and behind-the-scenes reactions that have never been fully reported. We'll explore Ty Warner's influence, Meghan's alleged connections, and Harry's legal strategy, all while weaving in emotional spikes, surprising facts, and the human drama that makes this story resonate on every level. But there's a catch. As we peel back the layers, the truth becomes harder to define. Facts and allegations blur, intentions and actions collide, and the story grows more complex. And just when you think you understand the narrative, a new revelation shifts everything, forcing us, and the public, to reconsider everything we thought we knew. And just as we thought the story couldn't get any more shocking, a new detail emerged, a detail that Tom Bower didn't reveal immediately, a detail that could change the way we see Meghan, Harry, and the entire royal narrative. But we'll get to that in the chapters ahead. For now, remember this, the fairy tale is over. What we are about to reveal is raw, unfiltered, and astonishing. And it all starts with whispers, hidden deals, and one of the world's most powerful men, Ty Warner, entering a story that the public thought they knew, only to realize they knew very little at all. So buckle up. Because what comes next will challenge your assumptions, shock your expectations, and leave you questioning the reality of Meghan and Harry's world. And if you think you've seen it all, just wait, because the next chapter will reveal secrets no one saw coming. Whispers in the palace corridors often say more than headlines ever could. That's how one insider began describing the atmosphere surrounding Meghan Markle in the months leading up to the explosive revelations. Behind the polished gates of royal estates, behind the cameras, behind the curated social media posts, stories were circulating, softly, cautiously, but with unmistakable tension. And while the public sees a duchess attending charity events or smiling for photographs, the people on the inside know that secrets have a way of refusing to stay hidden. It began subtly, a call from an unknown number, a brief meeting that lasted far longer than expected. A handwritten note passed discreetly to a member of the staff. On their own, these incidents might have seemed mundane. Taken together, they formed a mosaic of intrigue, signaling that something significant was happening behind closed doors. The first whispers suggested a connection between Meghan and a figure who rarely appears in public, the billionaire Ty Warner. The man who built an empire on Beanie Babies, whose net worth is reportedly in the billions, whose personal life has been fiercely private, and whose influence extends far beyond the worlds of business and collectibles. To suggest a link between Meghan Markle, a duchess with global visibility, and a man who operates in the shadows of the elite, was enough to send ripples through palace staff, aides, and royal correspondents alike. But the whispers weren't just about money or status. They were about timing, secrecy, and intention. Sources indicate that what seemed like ordinary charity events or casual meetings were anything but. Staff members recalled seeing off-schedule dinners, late-night visits, and a level of discretion that went beyond typical royal security protocols. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it hinted at a story that no one outside the inner circles was meant to see. Now, one might ask, why would Meghan Markle, a woman in the public eye, with an image carefully curated over years, even entertain connections of this nature? The answer is far from simple. According to palace insiders, Meghan has always been strategic about her relationships, both professional and personal. She understands the power of proximity, influence, and public perception. And for those who have observed her career and personal trajectory, there's a pattern. Calculated appearances, carefully timed media statements, and an uncanny ability to navigate complex social landscapes. Enter Tom Bower. If anyone could piece together these whispers into a coherent story, it would be him. Known for his exhaustive investigations into the royal family, Bower has a reputation for uncovering hidden truths that the public rarely sees. Sources say Bower spent months corroborating details, verifying meetings, and tracking financial footprints. Each step a thread in a tapestry of secrets. Bower's findings suggest that Meghan's interactions with Ty Warner were not incidental. Rather, they were part of a network of relationships that blurred the lines between personal gain, influence, and privacy. Staff members reportedly observed discreet visits to Warner's properties, unusual flight arrangements, and communications that bypassed typical royal channels. In other words, a pattern emerged. One that pointed to something far more calculated than simple acquaintance. The palace itself reacted cautiously to these developments. Advisors and aides, well aware of Meghan's media influence, were caught between protecting the couple's privacy and preparing for a potential storm. Conversations in hushed tones, notes scrawled in margins, and encrypted messages passed between security and legal teams all suggested one thing. The palace understood the stakes. And the stakes were high. Meanwhile, outside the palace walls, the public remained blissfully unaware, or, perhaps, selectively blind. Social media feeds were filled with the usual coverage: charity appearances, fashion choices, humanitarian work. But beneath the surface, a different narrative was unfolding, a story that could redefine public perception of the couple, and particularly of Meghan. Curiosity grew not only within palace corridors, but also among journalists, insiders, and even celebrities. Questions circulated. Had Meghan leveraged connections with Warner for financial advantage? Was there a personal relationship intertwined with these professional encounters? And how much did Harry know? Sources close to the couple suggest that Harry's understanding of these interactions was evolving, and that, at times, he was caught off guard by the implications. What makes this chapter particularly compelling is not simply the existence of the whispers, but their implications. In royal life, perception is everything. One misstep, or one secret revealed, can ripple across continents. A private connection, carefully concealed, can become a global headline overnight. And for Meghan, whose every move has been scrutinized, the stakes couldn't be higher. Some insiders describe moments of tension between Meghan and her staff, where directives were given in hushed tones and explanations were deliberately vague. One aide reportedly said, "It felt like we were in a spy novel. Everything secret, everything measured, and everything had consequences." Whether these moments were about meetings, financial dealings, or personal relationships, they created an atmosphere of anxiety and anticipation, a perfect storm for scandal. And yet, the whispers alone do not tell the full story. They only hint at the existence of something more concrete. Bower's investigation provided pieces of evidence. Travel logs, flight manifests, meeting schedules, and even financial documents that painted a fuller picture. Each piece, while perhaps innocuous on its own, together suggested a pattern of behavior that was undeniably strategic and, according to some sources, potentially explosive. Now, consider the human element. Meghan is not merely a figure in headlines. She is a person navigating immense pressure, public scrutiny, and complex relationships. The whispers that filled palace corridors were not just about her. They were about perception, reputation, and influence. The pressure to maintain an image while managing private ambitions is immense, and those who observe closely note that such pressure often leads to strategic, calculated choices. And in parallel, Harry's journey during this period adds yet another layer of complexity. While Meghan navigated private and potentially controversial relationships, Harry's focus was reportedly on stability, loyalty, and protection, both of his family and his public image. The divergence of priorities, the tension between private ambition and public duty, and the weight of expectations all set the stage for what would become one of the most talked-about scandals in recent royal history. Even now, as journalists piece together the timeline, it's clear that every detail mattered. A single meeting at a private residence, a phone call intercepted by palace aides, a flight booked without official notice, all small cogs in a larger, intricate machine. And for viewers like you, the intrigue is irresistible because every whisper hints at a revelation. Every secret meeting suggests a motive, and every pattern uncovered by investigative reporting brings us closer to the truth. The whispers, the subtle observations, and the hints from insiders all converge on one point. Meghan Markle's life, carefully curated and publicly celebrated, may contain hidden layers of strategy, influence, and secrecy. And these layers, once exposed, have the potential to reshape not only how the world sees her, but also how the monarchy navigates this unprecedented scandal. But here's the catch. While whispers can hint at truths, they rarely provide the proof the public demands. And that's where Tom Bower's work becomes crucial. His investigation transforms rumor into narrative, conjecture into evidence, and whispers into a story that cannot be ignored. He pieces together a mosaic that shows connections between Meghan and Ty Warner, raises questions about intentions and relationships, and sets the stage for the dramatic events that would follow, most notably, Harry's moment in the divorce office. And it's precisely that moment, the confluence of personal, legal, and public scrutiny, that will be the subject of the next chapter. For now, what we know is this. The whispers are real, the patterns are evident, and the story is just beginning. What began as subtle hints in palace corridors has evolved into a narrative with global implications. And just when the whispers seemed contained, one source leaked a document so revealing that it could confirm every suspicion, and it pointed directly to Meghan's secret meetings with Ty Warner. What happened next would shock even the most seasoned royal watchers.